Hello, my dear aspirants. Today we have a surprising news coming from the Indo-China relations. The backdrop of this news begins with the ongoing BRIC summit being held in New Delhi. Here, Wang Yi, the Chinese foreign minister, meets Ajit Doval, who is the National Security Advisor of India, and very strongly advises Ajit Doval to come together and resolve the deadlock that both the countries have been facing for a very long period of time. Now, this is interesting because China has always been a bully in this relationship. China has always accused India of stalling communications. China has claimed India's lands. China has internationally tried to humiliate India on platforms. So, something coming from Chinese side regarding a peaceful talks is a surprise in itself. Okay, so the talks that happened in 2024, when both leaders publicly affirmed that India and China are partners and not rivals, was a great step forward in both the countries' relationship in 2024. China and India have been facing not so good relations in the near past. The biggest episode that ended up creating trouble amongst both was the episode of the Galwan Valley. The year was 2020 when forces of India as well as China, they both clashed at what is called as the Galwan Valley, which sits at the borders between India's Jammu and Kashmir, currently the Union Territory of Ladakh, as well as the proclaimed region of China, which India calls as Aksai Chin. So at Galwan Valley, both the forces met, and unfortunately, a lot of soldiers had to die that day. Since that day, majority of the communication channels between government to government, approximately 50 of them, have been shut down. That means today India and China do not talk face to face on matters of trade, finance, law enforcement, as well as media. There is a thaw in this relationship. There is a discomfort in this relationship. Both countries do not have comfortable relationship on speaking terms with each other. Even if you look at when the leaders, when the heads of the states meet each other, that is when the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, meets the President of China, Xi Jinping, you look at the body language between both the leaders, it shows massive discomfort amongst them. So, since 2020, what used to function as a healthy communication channel between both these countries, which looked like this, where you used to communicate so much with the Chinese government, departmental communications were being carried out, media communications were being carried out, all the channels were open, that ended up or turned up into this, which is a broken structure of communication. Today, even a minuscule episode or an incident can create more troubles for both the countries because we do not have that kind of a communication channel open. When the communication channels are broken, a lot of mistrust takes place. The Chinese part doesn't trust the Indian government doesn't trust the Chinese governments. So this ends up becoming a major point of conflict between both the countries. Now, Wang Yi, who is known to be one of the most powerful leaders in the Communist Party of China, as well as a very close confidant of the Chinese President Xi Jinping, he comes to the BRIC summit in Delhi and he says that China wants these communication channels to go back to where it was before 2020, before the Galwan clash. So this is surprising because China has been a bully. China has been unilaterally declaring that Indian territories belongs to China. So a country that has traditionally been subjugating Indian interests, why does China suddenly wants to have an urgent reactivation of stalled mechanisms in the sectors of trade, finance, law enforcement, and in media. And be mindful, he says that they should not be gradual but immediate. China calls for immediate restoration of all these communication channels open. All right. So, according to China, whatever border clashes that India as well as China have, it should not be given more importance than other areas of communication. It says border conflicts should be kept aside and then other things shall be dealt separately. So, even if China and India do have border conflicts, let them be a parallel negotiation in comparison to other sectors that are being negotiated. Okay, so they call for the restoration of normalcy between Asia's two largest economies. China coming towards India and saying this seems to be a strategic maneuver in itself. What has been India's response? India has to measure its response. India's response has to be calculated as well. This is what India is known for, and this is what India has done this time also. So, India's National Security Advisor Ajit Doval, he has stressed that stable, predictable, and constructive relations are essential. But, however, he has also emphasized that mutual trust must be built through concrete action and not just words. So, India is very clear with its intentions. India says, before we negotiate upon opening these communication channels, first let us work upon building trust between both the countries. Because for the past few years, whatever China has initiated from its end, Indian government has slowly been losing trust upon Chinese government. So, the precursor to a good and a healthy relationship with China are first building of trust. This is what India's calibrated mechanism or India's calibrated answers have been to this. India's response was cautiously optimistic, welcoming engagement while maintaining strategic clarity on core security concerns as well. So India says we are very optimistic about the future relationship between India and China. However, just being optimistic won't work. The relationship, the conflicts that have been taking place between both the countries, they have to be negotiated and they have to be solved with great enthusiasm amongst both the parties. So if this could be done, we would see a great partnership evolving in Asia, and it could be really the century of the Asian giants. Thank you for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, bye-bye.